How did GTA Online change from a game where you're supposed to have fun with friends, robbing stores, doing heists, buying cars, to a game where everyone is toxic? A game where people constantly blow each other up, and a game where people are forced to go into private lobbies just to complete the activities they want to do? Well, I think it all stems from one vehicle, the Oppressor Mark II. And this video will explain why. Let's go. From 2013, GTA Online was always a game about living out your criminal fantasies. While it was very messy in the first couple of years, structure was added to the game in about 2015 to 2016 when Rockstar introduced the idea of slowly building your criminal empire either by yourself or with friends. You started small, robbing stores, doing little jobs for contacts here and there, running your own motorcycle club, cargo warehouses. It was all grounded in the kind of street crime empire that GTA has always been about. Let's take lowriders, for example. Instead of focusing on alien weapons or flying vehicles, lowriders gave you the ability to fully customize classic cars. Here, the appeal was from small things, like choosing cool designs, and really just making the car your own. It wasn't just something that you use for missions, it sort of became a symbol of your journey through Los Santos. These lowriders felt like vehicles that belonged in the world, or could belong to one of the gangs around the map. But as time went on, Rockstar's focus began to shift. Rockstar started introducing updates that left the gritty, realistic tone behind in favor of something that appealed to a different audience, something flashier. Now, a lot of people think that the Oppressor Mark II dropped and that was what changed GTA Online. Well, that's kind of true, that doesn't tell the full story. See, before people were complaining about the Oppressor Mark II, they were complaining about military vehicles in GTA Online. From 2013 to 2017, the militarization of GTA Online started to take full effect, with the first pretty much fully bulletproof vehicle in 2015 with the Armored Kuruma, and the gradual introduction of more military-themed vehicles leading up to the gun-running update in 2017. In this update, Rockstar introduced the Oppressor Mark I, which fundamentally transformed the way that players got across the map. See, these fun, quirky, sort of semi-futuristic vehicles had existed since the game came out, with things like the James Bond car even featuring in single-player with the JB700W. We had the Coil Voltic, which was a rocket-powered car straight out of Fast and Furious. But even those cars were grounded in some sort of realism, and the Oppressor Mark I was the first real sign that Rockstar was leaving that realism behind. It was in December of 2017, though, when GTA Online saw its biggest shift. This was with the introduction of the Doomsday heists as well as the Deluxo, which is a spin on the DeLorean from Back to the Future. While it took a lot of skill to fly across the map with something like an Oppressor Mark I, the Deluxo was a flying car. There's not much more to it. It's easy to control, it's nimble, and it has some of the most powerful tracking rockets in the entire game. Fast forward a few months more to the middle of 2018, and we get the After Hours update, which introduces the Oppressor Mark II. At first glance, it was the complete opposite of what the game had been about for the past 4 or 5 years. It was a flying motorcycle armed with the exact same overpowered homing missiles on the Deluxo. It was fast, efficient, and immediately recognizable. But it also felt like something from a sci-fi game like Saints Row rather than what was kind of meant to be a crime simulator in GTA Online. But most importantly, it stood out as a turning point for GTA Online, and for most people, it was a negative turning point. But the title of this video is How One Vehicle Ruined GTA Online Forever. So how do I think it ruined the game? Well, for me, there are 3 core aspects, and we're going to talk about all of them. Identity, accessibility, and griefing. And let's talk about the latter first, griefing. As soon as the Oppressor was introduced in 2018, if you were trying to run a business or deliver cargo, the Mark II is the threat you're always looking for. You could be halfway across the map thinking you've got a clean run, but somehow out of nowhere, a Mark II user shows up, locks on, and you're done before you can do anything to counter them. This isn't just a rare occurrence, this is a constant problem every time you try to make money. And in fact, since Rockstar added the vehicle in 2018, for the past 7 years, Rockstar has constantly been trying to nerf it to fix the problem they created. The first big nerf targeted the homing missiles themselves, massively reducing their accuracy and speed. Then, Rockstar added a 5-minute cooldown timer for spawning the bike through the MC menu. After that, they increased the price up to $8 million, making it harder for new players to get one right away. And even to this day, in 2025, Rockstar is constantly giving more vehicles missile lock-on jammers to stop them from getting griefed. What's crazy is all of these changes and nerfs still weren't even really enough. Clear evidence of that is the fact that Rockstar fundamentally had to change the game design of GTA Online to the point where they now allow players to sell business product in invite-only lobbies, which fundamentally destroys the point of an online game. If you have to go into private lobbies in order to sell your product safely, then GTA Online isn't really GTA Online anymore. And I'm aware of the comments that we've probably got by now. People saying the Oppressor Mark II isn't even that good anymore. It's very easy to counter. You can just jump in something like a Raiju jet, and that's going to be much more effective than an Oppressor Mark II ever will be. See, counters exist for the Oppressor Mark II, but they don't really balance things out. For most people, it's always just going to be easier to call in an Oppressor Mark II right next to you, because it's just more simple. It's always going to be more nimble than a jet or a helicopter. No matter how many nerfs Rockstar gives it, it's always going to be much smaller and harder to hit than any of those. And let's be honest, if you're in a dogfight with someone using an Oppressor Mark II, good luck killing them. It's going to be almost impossible. Let's talk about the game's identity as well as accessibility. These kind of go hand in hand, and we can talk about them together. Grinding money in GTA Online used to actually make you think a little bit. If you're doing missions or running your businesses, back in 2016 for example, 2017 maybe, you actually had to put a bit of thought into which vehicle made sense for the mission you were doing. Maybe you'd go with an armored Kuruma, maybe you'd call in a helicopter to get there quicker. These weren't just practical choices, but they also made the game interesting. You'd plan your route, weigh in the risks, and sometimes even pick a less efficient vehicle just to mix things up or work better with your crew. That's what made the daily grind feel like more than just a chore. But when the Oppressor Mark II showed up, that changed pretty quick, to the point where I now get comments like this pretty often. This comment was actually the inspiration for this video, so let's read it. This commenter said, "Who complains about Oppressor Mark IIs besides being used to grief like crazy? It's such a massive quality of life upgrade that I would welcome in GTA 6. Obviously, I prefer it without the missiles and purely as a mode of transportation, because let's be honest, driving to Sandy Shores over and over for setups and missions is not very enjoyable." Now, first thing I have to say is, he's got a point. Constantly driving across the map can be kind of boring. But that's not the only way to get across the map. So I replied, "You can still fly with helicopters or planes though. You don't need a flying bike. A lot of us don't think flying cars belong in a modern day crime game." And this is where the thread started to get kinda interesting. The user replied, "Even that is half as convenient as the Oppressor though. With the Oppressor, you can just hold R2 and scroll some YouTube shorts. A helicopter or a plane requires some input." The Oppressor Mark II has fundamentally changed GTA Online so much that there's people out there now that would rather fly across the map holding R2 with an Oppressor Mark II while they scroll on their phone, as opposed to actually playing the video game. So let's break down how we actually got to this point. As I mentioned before the Oppressor Mark II showed up, you actually needed to put a bit of thought into your GTA Online gameplay. But when the Oppressor Mark II came, that all changed pretty quick. With how easy the bike is to use, with how quick it is, how agile it is, how strong it is, it became the obvious choice for almost any mission in the game. Any mission that used to take 10 minutes now only takes 3 or 4 with the help of an Oppressor Mark II. You don't need to drive through the streets of Los Santos and get immersed in the world anymore. Now you can just fly over the entire city in a fraction of the time and get money faster than ever before. As everyone started using the Mark II for grinding, GTA Online lost what made it feel dynamic and special. Missions that used to require teamwork and planning became mindless solo grinding routines that you can just switch your brain off for. Take a Headhunter VIP work, for example. Previously, you and a friend might team up and plan who's going to take which target. You might team up in an armored Kuruma and get your $30,000 in about 5 or 10 minutes. Now though, you just get an Oppressor Mark II, one person can switch their brain off, lock on to all 4 targets, and get your money within about 2 or 3 minutes. It's efficient, sure, but it also means you don't have to think much or rely on anyone else. The shift towards solo grinding changed the game's economy as well. With the Oppressor Mark II, you could make money faster than ever, buying new properties and vehicles the second Rockstar drops a new update. It seems cool on the surface, right? Like, that sounds great. Less time grinding means more time enjoying what you've bought, right? But it also means players are doing the same thing, following the same loop and ignoring what GTA Online has to offer. See, this isn't just an issue with the Oppressor Mark II, it's kind of an issue with what the Mark II represents. When it comes to grinding, the Oppressor Mark II marked a shift towards solo play. As Rockstar saw people weren't playing with each other as much, their entire game design and philosophy changed towards making the game more solo-friendly. A massive example of that is the Cayo Perico heist, the first heist that you could do solo. See, for Cayo Perico, it's not even really worth using the Oppressor Mark II. The Sparrow kind of replaced the Mark II for this heist. An ultra-fast helicopter that you can just zoom across the map in. And immediately, once the Cayo Perico heist came out, everyone flocked to it to make money as fast as possible. And this is fundamentally when GTA Online just became a solo grind. And it all stems from the Oppressor Mark II. The grind became less about trying new approaches or having fun with friends, and more about getting through tasks as quickly as possible so you could make more money. And yes, all of this, in the end, adds up to a GTA Online that's faster and more efficient than ever, but it's also more predictable, and it's a big reason why lots of people say the game is more boring. The grind is easier, but it's also less rewarding for players who like the challenge and variety of the old GTA Online. The focus on efficiency took away a lot of the teamwork and creativity and identity that made the game stand out. For some people, who have probably already commented on this video, that trade-off is worth it. Making money is easier, you can stay on top of the new content, get everything you want. But for others, it's the main reason why GTA Online doesn't feel the same anymore. I'll end the video with this. A lot of us have probably noticed this, but I don't know if I've ever made my thoughts on this clear. I think that Rockstar made a massive mistake with the Oppressor Mark II, but what's interesting is I think they realized it. Think about it. The last 5 years, Rockstar has done absolutely everything they can to nerf the Oppressor Mark II into the ground. But what's also interesting is, ever since the Oppressor Mark II came out, have you noticed that all of the GTA Online updates have been a lot more grounded? Think about it. In 2017, we got stuff like the Doomsday Heist, and then in 2018, we got the Oppressor Mark II, of course. But since then, every single update has been grounded in some sort of reality. We're talking Cayo Perico, Casino Heist, the auto shops with the LS car meet. We've got businesses like a bounty enforcement office, a salvage yard. Hell, dude, even in 2025, we just got a car wash. Something that probably should have been in the game since the start, before the futuristic stuff was added, not now. All of this goes to show that, yeah man, I think Rockstar knows they made a pretty big mistake here with the Oppressor Mark II. It completely ruined and changed the identity of GTA Online. And while Rockstar has really tried to reverse their mistake that they made in 2018, the identity of GTA Online will forever be changed. And sadly, the changes Rockstar continues to make aren't enough to change that identity back.